So, welcome everybody. Namaste. Welcome to our Sangat Circle. Sangat with our beautiful teacher, Bahadur Singh Ji. So yeah, tonight we have a really beautiful theme. I'm really excited about hearing what Bahadur and feeling what Bahadur has to share with us. And what I'd like to just talk a little about before I hand over is this Sangat Circle and what I've been learning myself about Sangat and what it is. Since I've been spending time with Bahadur, I've come to understand how important the Sangat is. And I've learnt with Bahadur that there is good Sangat and then there is not so good Sangat. And this Sangat is the company that we keep. It's the association. It's what we associate ourselves with. And it's what we hear coming in through the ears, the conversations around us, and the people that we share our energy with, share our mind with. And I've really noticed extreme differences in my own contentment, depending on the kind of Sangat that I've been experiencing. And so, like I say, there's good Sangat and then there's not so good Sangat. And Sangat is really to be in association with something. And in this Sangat circle, all of the attention is directed towards the divine presence. So everything that we talk about and share is directed towards the divinity within you and all around you. So it's a very healthy and positive Sangat that brings with it many blessings. We're very, very lucky to actually have somebody who has a direct access with divinity and to share such sacred truth and wisdom with us. So again, like I said last week, I really recommend that you just be open to receiving these messages. So the theme for our circle tonight is Prema. Prema is divine love. It's a pure love. So now I'll hand you over to our beautiful teacher, Bahadur Singh Ji.
Can everybody hear me? Prema, a very unique type of devotion. Prema is born from the Sanskrit word, which is a mixture of affection, devotion, and love. born from the root understandings of the scriptures. It is also known as Priti, Preet, Man Preet Charan Kamalare. This Prema, this Pratiti, and in English we can call it a lover, is a divine virtue. And the one who possesses this attribute makes rapid progress on their path of spirituality. Prema is the net sum of all your love, your devotion, your faith, every aspect, your gratitude, your humbleness, every aspect. The net sum of all your being, actual and potential, in totality. There are three levels, generally speaking, that we need to understand in the earlier stages of spirituality. The three levels where the Premi lives in. The first level is the level of the soul. I am the soul. I am divine. That sort of understanding. And then you develop from there. And that is known as the level of radiance. The level of radiance is when the Premi surrenders to the divine. From being to surrendering. When you surrender, this will allow the divine to flow through you. And then from there, we go into the level of oneness. So from the soul to the surrender, from the surrender to oneness. This is when the devotee, the Premi, the lover, dissolves completely into the divine. Like a cloud dissolving into the sky. Now, how is this Prem acquired? This Prem requires a leap of faith. It is like standing on a cliff's edge, a spiritual cliff's edge, and looking down into the abyss. At what point do I surrender myself? At what point do I lose myself? For that is my identity. I am who I am because of my identity. And a Premi is looking at this abyss, an abyss of surrender. Jumping from the world of humanity as we experience into the sea of the soul. And if one is able to do that, then the most powerful, most dynamic, the ultimate, most beautiful emotion of Prem will be born inside you. This Prem which lies deep within us, which cannot be understood by the human mind. An essence without a name and impossible to describe. A Premi is not concerned for their body, for the body is just a rest stop on the way to the divine. That's all. In the late 11th century, there was a very famous Muslim saint. His name was Farid, Sheikh Farid. He was born very blessed, and much of his writings are in the scriptures of the Guru Granth Sahib. I will share with you one aspect of his life. He went into the discipleship of a saint, and his job was to make sure that the water was warm enough for the disciple to bathe in the morning. One night, it was wet, cold, and a stormy night. Everything, all the wood, became wet and soggy. And he had no way to light the fire. And he had to warm the master, water for his master to bathe in the morning. So he left the sanctuary in search of fire. Through the dark and rainy night, he became wet and started to shiver. No fire to be seen. But he carried on searching because his devotion, his Prem for his saint far outweighed his present situation. Finally, in the distance, he observes a light. Starving, cold, wet, he made his way towards this light. And he arrived at the building and he knocked on the door. And a voice, a lady's voice from inside, asked, "Who is that who's knocking on the door at this time of the night?" He said, "I'm Farid. I'm the disciple of the saint. I need some light. I need to take some fire with me." And this was a brothel. And she smirked, and unashamedly she said, "Well, if you want fire, then you have to give me something in return." And Farid said, "What would you like?" She said, "If you love your master so much, give me one of your eyes." We're talking about Prem here. "I want an eye as payment for some fire. Do you love your master that much?" Sheikh Farid said, "My sister, could you give me a knife?" She gave him a knife, and he pulled his own eye out. He gave her the eye, and he bandaged his eye, took the fire, got back, warmed the water, so his master had his bath. This is devotion I'm talking about. A devotion that makes a saint. In the morning, the master, the saint, after his discourse with the Sangat, he called Farid. He goes, "Farid, come here." Farid went down. "Farid, why do you have a bandage on your eye?" Oh, nothing, Master. It was just an infection, he said. Okay, Fried. If you said it's nothing, then it's nothing. It's an infection in the eye. Open your bandage. Your eye should be fine now. Reluctantly and very scared that he may have lied, he started to open the bandage. And as he opened the bandage and he rubbed his eyeball was there. And the saint smiled. He goes, Farid, I know what you did last night. He goes, I cannot give you the same eye, but I gave you a slightly smaller eye because the divine is powerful. I cannot do what the divine does. Very famous. You will see, if you look at the pictures of Sheikh Farid, you will see even in his pictures now. They have huge, in India, they have qawwalis and they sing around Sheikh Farid. Very famous saint. By releasing your soul, the lover, the Prema, surrenders to the divine. This body is nothing but just a pit stop. And in surrender, the lover lose themselves to the beloved. Totally. The lover, the Prema, opens completely to the beloved. And through opening becomes a channel for the radiance of the beloved to fall. So how do we start? In the beginning, when we read our scriptures, we are lucky enough to find a true master. There are many masters. I'm 60 years old, and believe me, I've seen many. I've listened to them. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. A master who has made the journey, who is capable of guiding you, who is capable of blessing you. In their company, you will gain unpolluted knowledge, pure knowledge, not a translation, absolute pure knowledge. The scriptures are the root of the birth of this sort of devotion. And this knowledge is known as Gyan. When we go through life, generally speaking, and we go through the ups and downs of life, our hearts become unreceptive. And we struggle. And sometimes our mind becomes obstructive, both. And sometimes when the heart opens, the mind refuses. When the mind wants to accept, the heart refuses. So in good Sangat, good company, through recitation of the mantras, understanding of the scriptures, especially when they're imparted from the mouth of a true saint, everybody repeats mantras. Har har kare net kapta kamave hirda shodhana hoi. Everybody saying har, 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 har. Guru, 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 Ram, 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 Ram. Allah, 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 Allah. The whole world is saying. But the mind is polluted. Har har kare net kapta kamave. But there is no purity of the mind. So, when this teaching is imparted from a pure soul, the heart begins to prepare itself for a higher understanding. The mind begins to settle, and both the heart and the mind begin to harmonize with each other. And as the harmonization process begins to establish itself, then an understanding will develop. An understanding of the true purpose of life will become clear. Your purpose. The fog of confusion will begin to lift, and we will start to become more practical, more committed in our spirituality. And as we become more committed into our spirituality, then love starts to germinate within us. Understanding, leading to action, leading to love. And from that love, devotion is born. And as our devotion becomes more and more refined, then the birth of Prema starts. A burning in the heart cannot live for a moment without the divine. Through this process, Prem will be weaved at every level of our consciousness. But scriptures and a good teacher is absolutely necessary. That is the root of our development. With no true instructions, there's a danger of spiritual vanity, spiritual ego, spiritual superiority is only a thought away. A true teacher will guard you. The spectrum of Prema is much wider, much deeper than the love we understand. Human love is a molecular force which comes and goes. What makes us happy today will make us sad tomorrow. What makes us sad today will make us happy tomorrow. But Prem is a totally different experience. It's a force that will bind two individuals into one. It's a force that is unbound, unconditional, a force that will take us into another universe beyond the vibrations of human love. To experience those vibrations, which Gurbani says, Gurmukh Rom Rom Harte Ave. Every follicle of your hair will resound with the mantra. Gurmukha means somebody whose face is towards the divine. Rom means every single follicle of your body will vibrate with this radiance. An experience which only a rare few will enjoy. Prema is a creative transformation of the union, merger of two into one. First there's the lover and the beloved, and only one will remain. A premi, through his actions, will become devotion in motion. Every aspect of the lover will become devotion. He will be a manifested form of devotion. Once one is no more, like sugar dissolving in water, then a journey will start. This Prem will take you upwards through boundless possibilities into a new level of understanding, a new level of experiences, a new level of consciousness. It will take you into eternity. Prem is to boundlessly, without any boundaries, to give yourself, to dissolve in its warmth, to be absorbed into the one, to be absorbed into the universe, to become part of the total sum of Ik Onkar Om. Onkar, some will say Om. It's like light and heat, the Premi and the Lord. The divine is a strange one. The divine sends gifts of beautiful thoughts to the lover. Meet me. I'm ready for you. Come, my child. These pangs that we have inside us, to be with, to unify with, to merge into our divine. And in return, the lover sends back sighs, tears, grief from separation and tiredness and weariness. We'll share with you one shot, which shares the state of a Premi. Mil mere pritama jiyo, ho tod bin khari ne mani. Mil mere pritama jiyo, ho tod bin khari ne mani. Maine neend na आवे जियो पावे अन्न ना पानी पानी अन्न ना पावे मरिए हावे बिन पेर क्यों सुख पाइए गुर आगे करूं बेनंती जे गुर भावे जो मेले तेवें मिलाइए आपे मेल ले सुख दाता आप मिलया घरे आवे नानक कामण सदा सुहागण ना पेर मरे ना जाए ना पेर मरे ना जाए मिल मेरे प्रीतमा जियो. Meet me, my dear beloved. Without you, I am dishonored. I have no honor. Without you, I have lost my sleep. Sleep does not come into my eyes. Without you, I have lost my desire for food and water. I have no desire. Without you, I am dying from the pain of separation. Without my husband, Lord, how can I find peace? I offer my prayers to the divine. If it pleases the divine will unite me. I wait with love. The giver of peace, and when the process of divinity took place, and then the giver of peace has united me with himself. He himself has come to meet me. There was a time when the lover was ready, and now the Lord has come. The divine has come. And, O Nanak, the soul bride is forever the Lord's favorite wife. Her husband, Lord, does not die and shall never leave him again. This is the state of the mind of a Premi. A lover, a Premi, is in touch with nature. For nature is their body. They understand this body is part of nature. Nature is their body. The lover, the Premi, is in touch with humanity. For humanity is their heart. The whole of humanity is the heart of the lover. The lover is in touch with the divine. For the divine is his essence. being one with all, and all of life becomes one with the lover, with the Prema. The words of the divine become the music of the universe, and through life, dancing to the tune of the divine love becomes the way of the Prema. That is Prem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Jamila says thanks. But when you're in this sangha, when our attention is turned to that divine teaching, and when you're with a good teacher who has actually meditated so much that when you're in their presence, all you feel is peace. It just takes away your mind. You don't really have any questions. I don't think anyone has asked a question yet. We've done how many weeks? And we're all just in that peace together, which is really beautiful. So if you're feeling quite silent right now, then I say just soak that up and enjoy that. And I think it was a really beautiful part of the talk where you talked at the beginning about the mind and the heart merging together, and how your head can say one thing, your heart can say another. I mean, this is such a common dilemma for people, isn't it? It's like, do I follow my heart or my head? And they can be really in opposing directions. And it's like you said, you know, the heart at a sort of lower level of love, it will be, how do I describe it? It will be maybe getting emotionally attached to something that it wants, that it thinks will make it happy. And we're going for happiness, we're going for pleasure, we're going for something that feels good. But on the opposite side of that, there's always the pain and the loss of that thing that we wanted to hold on to. And that's not the pure divine love like the Prema. It's more like an attachment love. Is that right, Bahadur?
Yeah.
Bahadur says the heart is controlled by emotion and emotions are controlled by the thoughts. Yeah. The thought is controlled by Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, for anyone who's new, who's not heard of Kali Yuga, it's known as the Dark Ages. Something like 72,000 years. We're in a cycle of these dark ages, which is why we've got so much war and destruction and trouble in the mind right now. And this Kali Yuga is what we are trying to free ourselves from by practicing the mantra, being with a good teacher, focusing on the positive stuff, and just purifying, 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 letting go, letting go, letting go. I had a good purification today, didn't I, Bahadur? I had you know, the heart needed to just release some of that Kali Yuga that was in my mind. And this Kali Yuga is in the mind, and then the mind is controlling the emotions, and the emotions control the heart. So start the journey under guidance and all will fall into place. Why Guru Mantra will do what the mantra does. We do not need to worry. We'll do some Why Guru Mantra together today. Who is guiding your intuition? So we have been following our heart and mind. Are we happy where we are? This is from Bahadur. We have been following our heart and our mind. Are we happy where we are? I feel like when we follow the heart and the mind, we're always in separation from the true love. Which is actually all around us, inside of us. And I was talking about loneliness today with somebody, and feeling lonely. When you feel lonely, you feel separate from love, right? The beautiful thing about this is when you practice this, it takes you to a place where you realise that you're not alone and you've never been alone and you're very loved. You're very loved. And that's the beauty of Prema. If you follow the guidance I am sharing as taught by the ancient saints of India, with God's blessings, you will see the results. Thank you so much. The one thing I can say is that I felt lonely. I felt incredibly lonely through married life for a long time, and now I don't. Thank you. I can personally say that since I met Bahadur, it's completely transformed my life and taken away my loneliness. I was lonely before as well. Sometimes one can be feeling so alone, even if they are surrounded by a large family and lots of friends. Totally. So the loneliness disappears when you actually recognize this beautiful relationship that you have with this divine all around you all the time. And by being a member of this Sangat with us, that's what we're doing. So we're really happy to have you all here, and please share with us your worries, your cares, your troubles, and we will all look at it together. Thank you, Bahadur. Bahadur's got to go now. Bye. Thank you so much. So yeah, you're not alone anymore. If you join us, we'll be here every week, and we'll be going on this journey together. Thank you to the family from Argentina and Punjab. Okay, beautiful. So, shall we do some meditation together? As Bahadur mentioned, this Why Guru mantra. This is the mantra that we're focusing our attention on. and it's taking us in a straight line. It's like there's lots of paths that you can choose. You can go in different directions, or you can pick a path and it's a straight direct access into that divine union, the divine union with the divine around you and the divine within you. Waheguru is like a direct access to that. So while you repeat the mantra, you can also reflect on the fact that that's why you're doing it. You're doing it to create that divine union. And you're inviting that divine union. You're inviting that divine as your friend into your heart. You're inviting for yourself to feel that Prema, that high vibration of love. So we chant Waheguru. And if you're new to this mantra meditation, I would suggest just focusing on the sound to begin with, because that starts to bring in the mind from its fluctuations. So just focus on the sound. Okay. Get comfortable. If you have mala, you might like to roll over one bead for each Waheguru. It's W-A-H-E, one word, and then Guru, G-U-R-E, G-U-R-U. What we're doing is we're inviting it to take away the darkness and to bless us with the light. Calling on the light and the love to bless us and to be with us. Okay. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru,